we're going to get serious here. A lot of people watch this for a very, very specific reason. At the end of this, there's going to be a winner. At the end of this, we will have one clear winner of who has the most knowledge about solar systems.
You know, this is bullshit.
Saying stuff that's untrue.
I'm done.
So let's see let's do a bet. Who's the first one in? I say Bill Murphy.
I think Rich is probably on point with stuff.
All right, I say Bill.
Yeah.
And nobody.
He's serious.
Rich is serious.
I think Josiah's going to be 5 minutes late. Oh, Josiah, he's in first.
Josiah won.
All right, should we get him in?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Let's get him in. Here he comes.
Josh King.
Josiah is the first one in the room. Let's go.
There he is. Big man on campus.
Josiah, I gotta let you know, we had a bet to see who was the first one going to be in, Bill, Rich, or you. And I bet Bill, and Josh said Rich, and you were the first one in, so we gotta give it up. Good job, man.
That's good. I was the last one invited, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yo, I was literally, this is a good message for everybody watching. If you message for Josiah for weeks on end and he doesn't answer you back, you may be messaging the wrong account.
I keep wanting to resurrect that one and pull it back, but it's just like I have a year of history on one and 4 years of history on the other.
Bro,
Yeah,
you
I
think
think-
that up. There's so many people thinking that you're ghosting them.
I do it at least once a month. I'm trying to. My assistant just moved to Springfield, so I'm bringing it in. Man,
I think we had the same experience like a few months back. We got Bill in the house.
Hey,
Bill
guys.
Murphy, what's up, man?
Hey,
How
Bill.
we doing, gentlemen?
Bill, is that your movie room? I've seen you shoot ads in there, and I'm like, that's a movie room.
This is not, yes. That's actually not a bad place for an office now that you mention it.
He's got that HD audio coming in clear. She's like butter to my ears.
Audio is the most important thing.
I've got this Rode mic here, but I'm too lazy to set it up on these things. But that is coming in clear. My friend.
Yeah, I guess my Mac is not really doing the best for audio, but at least my screen is clear because Josiah, you're as blurry as I don't know what's going on over there.
I'm blurry?
It's just on his end. When it records locally,
No, it was
it'll be
clear
fine.
when he first came in, and then it got blurry for someone when Bill came in. Bill took all the clarity and took it away from Josiah.
All the bandwidth? Bill looks great to me.
I'll give some back.
It's the hat. The hat takes double bandwidth.
Yeah.
The pixel on Bill's hat is so strong at this point. It's just taking
Has
all
its
the
own
bandwidth.
gravity field. I wish it would bring my hairline back.
Bro, now you're
Man,
known for your
Shoulders brought my hairline back several inches.
Yeah. I don't think you have a hairline problem.
You should have seen me when I was younger, man. The locks were flowing and almost touched my eyebrows. Every single deal I do, it's about half a centimeter back. I guess that means I haven't closed that many deals, though, because there's not that many centimeters around here. Let's say a millimeter. We'll start with a millimeter.
Well, thank you guys for making some time on your busy schedule. You could be doing a million things. Probably are doing it at the same time. So appreciate you guys getting on. And I don't know, is this the first time you guys been together doing an interview or a podcast together on the same episode or same show?
I think so. I don't think we've done anything together.
I mean, besides SolarCon, right?
Besides
We were on
SolarCon.
stage.
We were.
I think that was the last time.
I wasn't smart enough to record that. I guess Rich owns that recording.
You need the recording. I'll get you the recording, Josiah. Just ask, bro.
You have it? We recorded that?
Yeah, you had a lot of cameras everywhere, so it's like finding a needle in a haystack. You just got to do the work. But yeah, we can get it.
That would be cool.
See, making shit happen already. Let's go.
Josiah, do you do your own, for example, of Rich or Bill will do themselves on the ads? Do you primarily rely on that, or do you don't like the camera when you're running ads? Are you on the front end of the camera?
So B2B or customer facing, I'm in all of those ads, and then our B2C, I'm not in any of them.
Nice one. Big Rich in the house.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Hey, what's up?
What's up, Rich? Glad you
Yo.
made it, man.
Looks like Rich
Yeah,
has.
I'm always in a different spot, so I'm usually relying on my Zoom background.
I think
Since
Rich has
this
home
isn't
field
Zoom,
advantage
so-
since the sun is still up wherever he's at.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I got some vitamin D. Vitamin D is going to help me in this conversation for sure. No, it's
You know what? I've
if I open the
realized within
shades,
the first,
I'll have to wear my
few
shades.
minutes here. If you guys want to run solar ads, everyone watching here, you just got to wear a nice ball cap. That's what I've realized. That was
Yeah.
really the secret the whole time.
You get your hat, bro.
It's true.
Headphone hair.
I mean, we knew that from Bill, but I think it was the secret that Rich and Josiah were keeping from everybody. It's really just the ball cap. You get that hat on, you can run ads like a beast.
That's true.
So we
Yeah,
were
a lot of
just
people-
saying. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, a lot of people tell me that I shouldn't wear a hat. They say that they hate whenever they see me in a hat. So I don't know why. Like we get Facebook messages all the time. So we stopped running as many ads with me in a hat. I just like to wear them during the day though.
Don't you
look,
have an immaculate hairline as well?
you look like 10 years younger.
I'm actually losing some hair actually, so I'm trying to gain some of it back, but yeah.
Hell yeah. We were just talking before you came in that I was asking Josiah and Bill, is this the first time you guys were in an interview or a podcast at the same time? They're saying, besides SolarCon being on stage at the same time, this is the first time for you too?
Yeah, I think so. I think we were together on the lead gen panel, and that was a good conversation. And then this is the first one on like a digital format, so that means I can fart as much as I want. And you guys won't smell it.
Yeah.
Just audio.
Magic virtual.
We'll hear it though.
That's it.
So
All right. Well,
I wanted to start it off real quick. Josh, you want to start it real quick first?
no, go for it. I got something after.
So I wanted to start off with, because all you guys have different origin stories and unique stories before you got to where you are today. Yes, right now you guys are known for being the big gurus and big dogs in the lead gen space, but you guys weren't that in the beginning, right? I know Rich was a door knocker and Josiah was selling solar and Bill was pioneering this stuff in the beginning. So if you guys want to go each, tell us like your origin story before you got into where you are now and how you got here.
Josiah, take it away.
Go first, since you're the first one in the room, baby.
Want me to go first. So my origin story is pretty interesting. I think, my story, I was in sales, direct sales, probably 6-7 years before I even touched solar. I did satellites, heating and air, water softeners, that whole thing, just, the whole door-to-door game. I think got into solar, got tired of knocking doors. My twins were on the way. I paid some dude, I think $5,000 to generate leads for me. Got 3 leads, 3 appointments, and then just started buying. I'm trying to remember what I started. I think I started in Cat Howell's group. And I started running ads for myself. I sold an 18 kW system off of $40 on Facebook ads. And I was like, I'm done. Like I cracked it.
This is it.
And then I spent $2,000 without getting another lead. It was like, okay, maybe I've got a little more to work on. So I kept honing my craft. Somebody actually told me to buy the solar cheat code. So there is a rumor going around that, I'm Bill Murphy's best student and, I'll never turn down a compliment.
There you go.
But I just kept building on, what we were learning, taking things we were learning, refining process. And then I think the owner of the solar company I was working with pulled me into his office and said, hey man, you can't, I can't have you working here like this. I'm like, what do you mean? He says, well, we're a door knocking company. You're not knocking doors. You're managing a team of door knockers. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, he's like, you need to decide what you're going to do. And so like I went home the weekend. I walked in the office Monday. I'm like, I'm probably getting fired on Monday. And somehow the conversation turned into paying me to generate leads for the whole company. Eventually that turned into me managing a sales team, doing personal sales, running marketing for the business. And I was like working 2 jobs basically for pretty much the pay of one job. I made like $250 a kilowatt on self-gens, which was pretty harsh back in 18, 19. I said, if I can do this for myself, why can't I do it for 10 other people? So I just started out reaching out to some contacts I'd made in the Facebook groups, charged way too little of money for what I was doing, or did it for free, and then started building clients. And that was Prospect Bacon's 4 years old as of April. So going on 4 years of, I think I actually sold my first client in March, didn't have an LLC. I remember he signed up and I was like, I don't know how to take your money. So I think I made a PayPal account with my Prospect Bacon email, made a PayPal business account, figured that was good enough. Took me a few months to get everything set up right and correct and LLC and all that, but just one did it, and that's 4 years later. So now we're, running ads for about 200 something clients, managing, I think we're about like $1.5 million of ad spend a month right now. Q1's a little low. We've got 34 stateside employees and another 30 team members in the Philippines. So my life has changed a lot in just 4 years. So
Love it. That's amazing. I love your story because I think it shows a big deal. For me, I call myself a salesperson, right? A lot of solo pros out there are salespeople, but in reality, we're sales/marketers. Like, unless you're just getting leads from a place and you're just closing them, you're not just sales, right? You have to have a blend of marketing, and you just excelled at that part, and that's where you really flourish, right?
yeah, that's correct. Well, I mean, my skill, I think I was always trying to build a business and other businesses. Like wherever I went, I was trying to find, I think, a better way to do things. My grandma always accused me. There was a story of, I think, Tom Sawyer, and he got hired to like paint a fence, and he talked all his friends into doing it. And it was like, I was always the kind of lazy that was like, I would work way harder to work smarter instead of working harder. And it wasn't until I really figured out I could own my own business and have a lot of things in my control, I was like, oh, well, everything kind of clicked into place. And it was like, this makes sense. Obviously, creative side, music was always a big thing for me. And then being able to mix my creative side with my sales side, which I always felt those two things were conflicting. Like there's a scene, I don't know if you guys remember like the Johnny Cash movie with Joaquin Phoenix, but it was like, he's literally a door-to-door salesman in that. Rich, you know what I'm talking about. You're smiling. He's knocking on doors, and then his wife, like, I don't remember what happens. They fight, and like his suitcase falls open. He's not even selling product. He's just looking at like music magazines all day. And I've always felt that like tension of like, hey, I'm this creative person, but I'm also in sales to make money for my family. And then marketing was like, oh, wow, like these two things can mix together. And it was just a really cool, I remember like we were having our first really profitable month, and my wife like was like, man, this is really awesome. It's like everything you've done like in your whole career, like melding into this one thing, which I'm really fortunate and blessed and happy to be here.
I love it.
So
I feel the same way with solar. But there is one elephant in the room, Josiah, that I just have to mention here. Look, man, and of course, everyone watching this knew I was gonna say this. You're mentioning, maybe getting a bit of inspiration from Bill there. There is someone else in the room I think we might owe an apology to. It's come to our attention that you actually took the moniker Solar Joe back in the day, after Mr. Joe Moose took. Uh, I'm not pointing fingers here, but I think someone you owe someone an apology here. This is breaking news.
I
I
would
didn't know this.
be I would be interested in seeing, who used it first, but
Oh,
Uh-oh.
oh,
That's gonna be
Solar
here
a
we
yeah.
go.
Joe's definitely one in longevity of the name, but I think there's still an active page, Solar Joe, and you can see some of the first video ads I tried running for myself on
Yeah.
Facebook and YouTube, still on that page with some here are 5 tips about going solar in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I had this great clips haircut I was so mad about because I went to get my hair for shooting video, and I'm just in this dinky little office of this. It's good times. It's funny.
If you're
So,
watching this right now, go to Google and go to Josiah Solar Joe, and you'll see the videos we're talking about. It's
I
awesome.
think it's Solar Joe NC is the Facebook
and
backslash.
and by the way, there was no apology there. There was straight up just, yeah, you probably had it first. Wow, wasn't expecting that from
I relinquish, even though I had the original claim, I relinquish it to you, Joe.
No. Whoa.
So-
I'm relinquishing first, okay? I'm relinquishing. I'm giving it to you. It's yours now.
Interesting. We've come to a stalemate here. Okay, we might have to deal with that a bit later with something we have planned here. What do you reckon? We move on to Mr. Fiola. I've heard your story a few times, but what's the origin story of Mr. Rich Fiola?
Yeah, so I think I always say it a little bit differently because there's always so much that has helped me develop Solar Exclusive over the years. I mean, I went to college for music, so I had no intentions of being a business owner or a marketer or in sales or anything like that. I studied jazz guitar in Boston, Massachusetts, and came out of school and was like, all right, well, I can keep playing jazz and teaching guitar, but I'll have to live on peanut butter and crackers the rest of my life. Or I can, try to make it in marketing or sales. So I thought, hey, there's not much experience that I have, so I went and got a job door knocking, and I was knocking doors, actually selling cable first. I was selling, switching people over on their cable providers. And then probably 3 weeks into that, I was doing okay. Another guy was knocking doors, and he's like, hey, you should come work for my company. And they were giving $2,000 referral bonuses to all their door knockers to go and recruit more people. So this company was a lot more established. They were a roofing company and a window company, and they had this really cool culture, the door knocking culture going on, that many solar companies do so well today. And that was 12 years ago, and I was, marketing for windows and roofing, knocking doors in the bitter cold in New Jersey, the humid heat in the summers, and I did that for 3 to 4 years, very successfully. Made my first 6 figures. Never thought I would have done that as a jazz guitarist. And then I was just I don't know if I really want to keep knocking doors. I did it for a good length of time, 3 or 4 years. I made it a lot longer than most. But I thought I had to go and get a real job. So I studied for this test called the Series 7 and the Series 65 and became a financial advisor. And I did that for a few years. And the way we got leads as financial advisors was that we would invite these retirees, or people about to retire, we would invite them to a dinner seminar where we would feed them a nice steak dinner at a nice restaurant. And then I would speak publicly, give a presentation, and then my assistants would go around setting appointments, and then they would come to the office, and then I'd try to get them to, buy investments or move their investments with me. And it was very expensive doing direct mail, and I was successful at it, but I thought there has to be some other way that I can get leads, and this was in 2015. And so I decided to start looking into how to run Google ads and Facebook ads and stuff like that. Since I went to college in Boston, I actually had one of the original Facebook accounts. So I had it back when it was called The Facebook. And like it changed drastically ever since like I first started my freshman year of college. But I thought, hey, why don't I start monetizing this, start running some Facebook ads? So I bought a course on how to run Facebook ads, and it was all from the perspective of like running an agency. And I had no intentions of ever running an agency. I had no intentions of being like a full-time marketer. I just wanted to learn how to generate leads from my financial practice so that I could build a bigger book of business. And like I was still dead set on being a financial advisor. So, as I started to see some success running ads for myself in the financial space, I was in a networking group, and there were some other business owners obviously there in New Jersey, and they were like, hey, like you're getting some good results with Facebook, right? And I was like, yeah. And so they're like, hey, can you run some Facebook ads for me? So I started running some Facebook ads for like some of the people in my networking group, like a dentist office, an assisted living placement agency, a couple other types of businesses, and then one was a solar company. And he was like, dude, like I really need help with my Facebook ads, and I can't figure it out. I can't crack the code. So I just came up with a simple ad off the top of my head. I remember the first ad I ever wrote in solar. It was Tony Soprano, a picture of Tony Soprano, like going like this, like saying "forget about it." And the headline was like, "Is solar free? Is solar really free? Forget about it." It was like Tony Soprano, and the ad just crushed it. I mean, it was like 2016, right? So like, there weren't really many people running solar ads at that time on Facebook, and it really wasn't that many people running ads on Facebook nearly as much as they are today anyway. So it was very cheap. The guy just crushed it, and like we did that for like a good 6 months to a year, and like his revenue like tripled from that one ad. I didn't even have to change the ad very often. Like it was just crushed it. And then, stuff happened in the financial markets where like there was like a big, downturn 1 month, and I was like, you know what, like maybe I should look into this agency thing again. And so I just decided, I asked my wife, hey, look, come up with a logo. Came up with the name Solar Exclusive, and then she came up with the logo, and I launched an ad. It was my first ad that I ran in 2017 as Solar Exclusive, and it was a picture of Heisenberg from Breaking Bad. Yeah, and it was him, like it was like the main picture from like all the Breaking Bad things with like the scientific symbols for the BR and the BA or whatever, and I changed the wording in the font to Breaking Solar Quotas. And it was just Heisenberg there with breaking solar quotas instead. And I got a lot of slack for that ad because I was comparing the blue meth to like solar leads on Facebook. I was like, oh, like why did Gustavo Fring like partner up with Heisenberg, right? It's because he had like endless supply of like the iciest blue meth you could. Like, I didn't say meth, obviously. It was like, I forgot how I said icy blue goodness. Icy blue goodness, And like, everyone was like, that's horrible. You shouldn't compare solar leads to meth. Like, it was very polarizing. It was very polarizing, right?
He's like, no, no, not meth. Goodness. It's way better.
Yeah. Well, you can't write meth in an ad, right? It'll just get shut down. But yeah, so it was very polarizing, but like in like 2 weeks, like my calendar was like packed, and I added like 15 clients in like 2 weeks. And like then I had to like figure out how to do this, right? Because like I did it for this one client for like a good 6 months to a year. But like it was just off of like one funny Tony Soprano ad that I wrote. And like now I've got to like all right, now I have a client in Arizona, I have a client in California, I have a client in Texas, I have a client in Florida. Like now I've got to figure out like how all these markets are different, how the marketing needs to change, like the different nuances of like developed markets versus, you know, undeveloped markets. And at that time, New Jersey was not a very developed market. Like the SRECs were like crazy high still. And it was just like a brand new market today. Like it's kind of like you look at a market like Louisiana or Mississippi, like, or Arkansas, or, you know, stuff in the Midwest where there's not many people there yet, but like that's what New Jersey was like back in 2016. So it was kind of an easy market to initially have success in. So it was like I had to go through the school of hard knocks, kind of like, you know, figuring out how to get results for these people. And but I was so busy that I had to make a decision at that point. I was like, am I going to keep doing the financial thing and just kind of run this on the side, just like for fun? Or am I just going to go all in on solar marketing? And like I said, like I had no intentions of starting an agency, but it just kind of like fell into my lap. And I decided at that point that, yeah, I'm going to go all in on this. There's a lot more hunger for this product, for solar energy, rooftop solar energy, than there is for people, you know, investing. So I was thinking like, hey, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you know, rooftop solar is just going to keep growing. Interest is just going to keep growing. But like now in the investment world, like AI and robo advisors are kind of like taking over, and like that, I think there'll always be a place for financial advisors, but it is on the descent, whereas solar is on the ascent. So that was my decision at that point. I just kind of cashed in, sold off my financial practice, and went all in on solar exclusive. And there was a lot of learning that had to happen over that time frame, and you know, we had to figure it out, and you know, learn about all the different markets, and learn how to, you know, refine the process to increase the quality of the leads over time. And yeah, I mean, now, you know, we're at the point where I think last month we managed like 3.2 million in ad spend, which is just crazy to think, like just from one like polarizing meth-based solar ad, now we're like managing over $3 million worth of spend for solar companies across the nation. So it's been a blessing to see it all happen.
Here's a question for anyone that was paying attention, and I'm going to ask this question for everyone watching and for myself. This is going to be a question for Joe, Josiah, and Rich. What is the probability of getting a musical ensemble with Josiah and Rich at SolarCon this year?
You didn't ask Bill. Does he play an instrument?
I don't know if Bill's a musical guy.
I play with myself.
Bill can sing though. I know Bill has the
That's
voice.
that kind of instrument, Bill.
Bill's got the old flute whistle.
Come on, guys, this show's
Play
for
my
kids.
iPhone. Play some beats on my iPhone.
We'll have to plan it for SolarCon 2024 because SolarCon 2023 is in a month.
Fast approaching.
Like, I can't believe it's coming up. Can't believe it's coming up so fast. So yeah, me and Josiah will have to practice. We're out of practice right now.
I just think we
I'm
could just
thinking
do
improv right on the spot.
dueling banjos from across the
Oh, I love
Across
it.
the vendors.
across the vendors.
I saw
Guitar Hero style.
I saw
That's
Richard's
awesome.
ad. You had your guitar playing over there. I see you
Good.
playing your ad too.
Hey,
Yeah,
Dad.
yeah.
Rich, I was really jealous when I saw that because I was like, is that guitar technically a write-off now? I had to think of a whole new ad strategy.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, and that guitar is like super special to me. Like it was designed by Paul Reed Smith, who I'm sure you're familiar with, Josiah being a guitar player. He makes Carlos Santana's guitars, he makes John Mayer's guitars, and he's like a personal friend of the family. So like he signed the back, it's like solar exclusive colors, it's like custom made. So yeah, it wasn't cheap by any means, but like I got it at cost, which was pretty cool. But yes, it is a tax deduction because I use it in a lot of ads and stuff.
There you go.
That's awesome. Beautiful.
So last but not least, even Josiah said that the rumor is that he was his best just best student ever. So he's a pioneer. Bill, can you tell us a little about your origin story? I know you had a little sales background also, right?
Yes. Well, out of college, I started selling gym memberships at Gold's Gym. And, you sit across the table from someone, like the little round tables, and you're trying to convince this person to spend $19 a month with you. And they're like, no, I'll take the 7-day free, I'll take the trial. And it's like, I lost out on $20 commission, And there's this guy, we used to do a lot of marketing through Spectrum. You guys know Spectrum, like the print marketing and the direct mail and that sort of thing. And we'd have like text campaigns, like text this number for a free 7-day trial. So anyway, the marketer who had our account, his name is Jake Ottolini. I got him into solar power too. He now owns a solar company in New Hampshire, but we called him Big Jake. He's like 6'6", former middle linebacker for Boston College. Just huge, like jacked. He could run a 4.40 and like, it's just, he's a monster. But anyway, we would always spitball, how do we get out of this gym business? He wanted to get out of the print marketing, and we bought a photo booth together. We were going to do his photo booth business. And, that didn't really get off the ground. We bought one and we rented it like 2 times. And it was just a nightmare. And then he was like, there's this solar company that's looking for a manager. I do their marketing too. I could get you an interview, right? So I'm like, yeah, sure, solar. And this is 2014. So I interview with this guy who he had just joined the company. He had left Comcast as like this higher up executive to come and run this little tiny solar company. It was in the attic of a barn, and they had just done like their first $3 million year or something like that. So I got hired as the sales manager November 1st, and on November 30th, that same guy who hired me, he came and sat down next to me, and he's like, the company is, we're splitting up, and I'm taking the installation crews, and I can't pay you, So I ended up having this choice real fast within 30. I mean, I just had a kid. Like I left a I had worked my way up at Gold's Gym. I was at 6 figures. So I'm like, I had this decision, and the owner of the company was completely blindsided, and I felt for this guy, right? It was November, so going into winter, and in New Hampshire, it's like dark at 3:30, so it's just depressing. And I was like, this is bullshit. I'm going to stay with this dude. And because he had the trucks, he had the logo, he had the website. Like, I was like, we can do this. So anyway, we hired like 35 people in 2 months, and we restarted the solar business. Like we had this job fair. We hired a bunch of journeymen, apprentice, because we did all of our own installations. And I was running excavator for fucking trenching for ground mounts and shit. And we ended up doing like $8 million in that first year. So he brought me on as partner, and like that's how I got into this industry. Now we ended up being purchased by Sunrun, and my little tiny piece of the company allowed me to choose what I wanted to do next. Moved down to Texas because we didn't like the winter. My wife's family lives in Houston, and I was like, I did minimal research on solar power down there. I was like, whatever, I think I can do it. And it was like a whole new world. Like no one knew anything about solar in Texas. It's 2015, right? 2016. And there's like no net metering. Like there's just electricity was 8 cents per kilo. Like I'm selling systems where it's like $100 more per month for solar. And I'm like, you get to own it. And there was, again, it was like a leads thing. In New Hampshire, see, a lot of people don't know, the Northeast is one of the best solar markets in the whole industry. Massachusetts just surpassed California for having the highest kilowatt hour rate in the country. And everyone net meters. Not only do they net meter, in New Hampshire, you can group net meter. So what that means is, like, if you have surplus on your roof, you can give it to your mom across town as long as she has the same utility. It's pretty sweet. So there's like a lot of infrastructure up there. So we had a lot of foot traffic. Like we had a storefront and people just come in. So we never really had problems with getting lead flow. But in Texas, I was like back to like trying to go door to door and like do farmers market. I was doing farmers markets. And we would purchase a lot of like solar reviews, clean energy experts, these types of things. And I would always end up bidding against the same people in Houston. So I essentially invested in learning how to generate leads. I did that with Ryan Stuman. This is really in the beginning days. Like, he was doing it with realtors only. And I was like, I'm going to do this for solar power, you know, and he actually helped me write my first couple ads for solar, you know, and I mean, I would drive around to neighborhoods in Houston, take pictures, and then that would be the picture that I would use on my ads. Like, it was like that guerrilla. And it worked phenomenally. Like, it was, like Rich said, back in 2016, you could throw anything at the wall on Facebook and it would fucking work, right? And anyway, then we ended up using that sort of lead generation technique to grow a sales team named KW Solar in Houston, and they're now Greenlight Solar. They're one of the they install about 5,000 systems a year, yeah, it was funny because I had like this fork in the road when I started Solar Cheat. I started Solar Cheat Code just like 1 month I started it. The next month I made 50 grand. It was like that quick, and it was like, okay, I guess I'll do this full time. And then within a year, I had 600 clients, you know, so it was like very, very fast. And I think looking back, I was having this conversation with my partner, Brandon. I'm like, that was like the worst thing that happened to me, literally, because it was such a fast rise. It was like very easy for me to get complacent with that coaching product. And I think I missed out on a lot of opportunities, sort of like creating recurring relationships with those clients. Because there's so many, it was like drinking from a fire hose. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that became my full-time thing very, very fast. And, you know, Brandon, my partner, I took him on because I needed help. And he's like, he actually bought Cat Howell's business. Mm-hmm. That's where I found him too. He was an admin of her Facebook group, and I was like, he has to know something about ads, and I needed help with the ads. And he wanted to start the agency, so we started the agency, which is basically just recycling past clients into done-for-you service, right? So that grew very quickly. And now, like, I never really enjoyed that. I didn't like the agency. I don't like running ads for people. It's not for me, right? It's just not for me. And now we're shifting our focus to how can we create the absolute easiest way to go solar with our own sales org, right? Like, how can we, because like if you think about the solar sales process, who thought of this process? Who thought about, hey, I'm going to make this homeowner go through a setter closer model, book an appointment, make them show up to an appointment, not give them any information, ask for all the information from them, and then make them go through this process and wait, and then get the information all the way at the end, you know? And it just didn't seem like the homeowner was thought of when this was engineered. It was more engineered to get the salesperson in the best closing position as possible, right? I mean, like, they won't even go to your house if your husband and wife aren't there. You know, like one-leggers. They won't run one-leggers. Like,
it's that 80s like home improvement sales mentality really took over the industry.
It's shocking. I mean, I still have clients who are like, they tell their solar dudes not to call the appointments before the appointment, like, because they're worried about cancellation. It's just, everything's fear-based, right? It's like fear-based selling. So anyway, I'm refocused on, yes, we have the agency. Yes, there's like 100 clients in there. I don't do much with it. I want to grow this. It's a virtual sales org. We want to make it super fucking easy for people to get a quote before they even speak to someone. And then we only speak to people if they're interested in talking about the quote that we already gave them. You know, it's like, it's the way I would want to do it if I was a homeowner. So that's what we're building now.
So a quick follow-up, Bill, just if you don't mind, just because as you're talking, I'm thinking to myself, and Josiah even said it, you're such a big influence of the solar industry. And not only like getting glass on the roof, I'm talking about setting reps up to be business owners, to run their own thing. So how does it feel? And like, is that something you're still building at all? Or what is kind of your goal there with like helping reps build their own businesses?
Yeah, so the thing that I think I liked so much about Solar Cheat Code was, and I say was because we don't sell that anymore. And we don't sell it anymore because it's way harder to get successful on these platforms. You know, it's not for the reps anymore. Reps should be focused on selling deals, really. But at the beginning, it was easy, and everything did work. And I was able to create leverage for the salesperson to move themselves up in the business that they worked in. So just opened up more doors. Because if you're the dude, if you're the geese who lays the golden egg, people will give you things, you know. And it's like just like happened with Josiah and his company. That's really what I liked about it. It's like, man, I could give these guys an elevator to the top. And they can go start their own business. They can do whatever they want. They can get ownership in their company. They can just have leverage for themselves. So yeah, that's what I really enjoyed about it the most, was helping people that way.
Bill, you and I had this freaky to hear the first 30 days that you mentioned about your story there. Obviously, it's super niche. I had the exact same thing happen. 30 days, joined a solar company, very quickly moved up to operations. Like, it wasn't a solar company, rather it was a marketing company, which we call in the US a dealer. So they had contracts with energy, with charity. Solar was the new thing. 30 days after I joined, the two founders split up, and they were fighting for me. The solar installer, who I was communicating with and building the operation, called me on the under the table and said, "Who are you going with?" Because he knew that I was running the operations. And then I said, "I'm going with these guys." And so we grabbed that solar contract and built a national dealer out of that. Very, very interesting. Very, very similar story there.
Awesome.
All right, what are your reactions? Should we roll into some rapid fire, Joe? You got some extra stuff.
No, actually, one more. I want to do one more question roundtable, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So some of these guys are like some of the funniest people in the industry, and that's probably some of their talents going into marketing. And Josiah specifically, like, super hilarious. A lot of people like compare him to like Zach Galifianakis. So Josiah, can you tell us a joke?
His face when you said that.
Can I
No,
tell
I'm just
you a
joking.
joke?
Obviously, you don't have to tell me a joke. So that's the point, though. It's like you guys are so good and so creative and so funny. And like, how do you get to a point? Is when they're like, "Hey, Josiah, we need a funny ad." They're like, what's that? When you're like, "All right, let me think. Let me take my shirt off and walk down the street." Like, how do you get that creative and that humor to come up when you have to do it on like pressure?
All
Josiah,
right.
you can go first.
Well, I'm going to talk about this Mandela Effect because I first became aware of it at SolarCon, but I have never done a single drug in my whole entire life, nor anything to black out that hard and forget what happened. But at SolarCon, I started hearing this thing of like, "Hey, you're the dude walking down the street with his shirt off eating bacon." That ad has never happened. It has never been filmed. Chick-fil-A has always been spelled the same way, and so has Fruit Loops. So, like, Mandela Effect, that ad never happened.
But it should.
But it should happen. It honestly should. Like, I'm seeing it. It's like that Arthur theme song from that kid's song, and I'm just like walking down the street with my shirt off. Yeah, work well.
Gold. Rich is going to steal that. You'll see him next week with his shirt off.
He's walking ScoobyDoo as the Solar exclusive van, just like swings by. Yeah, I mean, I think humor pays a lot and plays a lot into advertising. I think humor is one of the best ways to connect with people. It brings down a lot of guards. It is interesting. I remember, like, with a company like the name Prospect Bacon, like, I don't know. It's funny. People don't. Usually when I get one-on-one to somebody, they're like, "Oh, I thought you were going to be a lot more funny." And it's like, well, I am funny, but like, I'm also, thank you.
That's the word. Like, be funny. Like,
Right. And so I think it's like this thing, like marketing's a lot like a reverse mullet. It's party in the front and business in the back. And, I think if we can be a funny company that gets attention in like a good, wholesome way, and then show we're extremely professional on the back end, I think that's just a little different than what people are doing. I remember we hired a guy to build our website 2 years ago, and he was like, "Well, I was looking at you guys for like as an SEO candidate. Why the heck did you pick the name Prospect Bacon? Everybody else is solar this, solar that, solar that. You're either the worst marketer I've ever met or the best."
That's true.
So the jury's still out.
Love it.
I love that. That is true, right? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I would say good thing, right? You want to be different, but then when the people were search solar, you don't come up, right?
We get 3,200 website visitors a month for bacon.
Oh,
You guys should just
I'm gonna
say something
monetize it.
bacon on the side.
Please
Yeah, I've got a
monetize it.
merch.
Please.
I've got a merch line we've been working on.
Wait,
Come on, man.
first of all, we're
We'll
gonna
just
have
sell bacon.
We're having bacon at SolarCon, right? Samples of bacon.
We're working with what we can get away with at the Salt Palace. We'll see.
I will help you monetize actual bacon. I just want to see if it'll work. Put
You
a
could be like
tab.
the Starbucks
Are
of
you looking
bacon.
for bacon? They click on that and just brings them to a bacon site they can
Just
order. Please.
just an affiliate link. Like we'll just set
Let-
up some.
Let's set that up, man. That'd be so cool.
Bill, you were saying something?
It could be like the Starbucks of bacon.
Mm.
You know, like the upper echelon.
Bacon Cafe.
So
Ooh.
I've gotten bacon shipped to me a few times as a gift.
A few
Just
times.
for any clients out there or anybody really, if I really bless you on this podcast, it's an option. But it's interesting. There are like wholesale bacon places that like just ship bacon to people, and it was like, man, that would be kind of fun. But also bacon merch does really well on Amazon. We've been looking at it and trying to think of some fun things. I don't think we're going to be selling anything at SolarCon, but it's coming.
So
Drop
speaking of,
chips and bacon.
speaking of creative marketing, Rich, you're always testing. Like I don't think I've seen like the same ad over and over. Like you just always continuously coming up with creative stuff. Well, is there like a template or a plan you have now that you've done it so long? Like you come up with new creative ideas, or you have a team now doing it for you? How's that work?
Yeah, so I mean, there's really two different types of ads that we run, right? So there's ads that we run for Solar Exclusive that attract reputable, successful solar installation companies, sales orgs, and only like the best reps possible that we accept. There's those ads, and then there's the ads right for our clients on YouTube and Google and other platforms as well. And so there's really two different types of ads that exist in our company. And generally speaking, in the past, like the funny, more creative ones, the ones that kind of grab more attention or kind of have the like produced element that are really professionally done and cutting edge and funny, they tend to be the ones that we're using to attract solar companies to us. But that's been changing over the last like 3 to 6 months. We have a lot of similar ads like that are very entertaining, but also convert to get homeowners to request a quote for solar. So we've been really developing that to, further develop our content, because a lot of the ads that we do run for solar companies that attract leads for their business, some of the YouTube videos just have so much data built up on them, like hundreds of millions of views. I think one of our YouTube videos is like approaching 1 billion views from ads being run. And
Wow.
like Google just like prefers those ads because there's so much data built up on them that they just sometimes convert better. But we're always tweaking different things where, a lot of my best ideas come to me just by, turning my phone off, kind of sitting down with a notebook and a pen and just thinking, or I'll read something that's totally unrelated to business, something unrelated to solar, or unrelated to marketing, be at the beach or, in my backyard, or play some guitar, or, just try to get the creative juices flowing. Because I think, as you can see, like with me and Josiah, like we both are musicians, and like that part of your brain, like the right side of your brain, the creative part of it is signaled when you're a musician. And I think it just gives you a different approach to marketing, because it's all about developing the next thing, right? It's all about pivoting when things stop working, figuring out what went wrong. Like there is some analysis there, left brain analysis and science behind it, but a lot of it is how do we get to the next thing? How do we get the results even better? how do we be more creative in some of these things? And like, for instance, like we're about to record another ad next week, and it's going to be with this new girl that you guys have probably seen in my ads. She's like this blonde girl, and she's like in some of the ads now, and she's going to say, hey, solar season's coming, time for summer bills, sunny days, and glass laid, like, and then she's going to wink, so it's just like coming up with these like funny catchphrases and stuff like that people will chuckle at and be like, oh yeah, like, yeah, solar season is coming, like, it's going to be a great year. Last year was amazing ever since the ITC was increased again, and now this year is going to be even better, just kind of getting people pumped up for the solar season that's awaiting. Because, yeah, it is, like Josiah said, Q1 is, like, tough. If you can make it through running online ads through November to February, like, March to October is just you're going to crush it. If you have the systems and processes in place to, execute on those leads. But as far as, like, the creative process, like, it's really trying to, like, disconnect from the day-to-day of the agency, disconnect from, trying to, like, have the, like, work on getting the ideas and just letting them come to me for some of those things. Like, we have an ad now that we're running for homeowners to get solar, and, like, you guys have all seen the movie Scream, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like, the first scene, like, with Drew Barrymore, and, the killer comes in, she's making the popcorn, and, that whole, like, iconic first scene of Scream. So we recreated that whole scene, and the killer is like, say like, hey, do you see that on your counter? And like his voice and everything is like his robotic voice, and she's like looking at her electric bill on the counter. It's like, oh my god, my electric bill is $300 a month. And then like it's just a back and forth between the killer and her, and like he starts chasing her around, and he's pitching her on going solar the whole time. And it's just like creative stuff like that is now converting on YouTube. But you have to have like this balance of, you don't want the ads to be too entertaining, because then it's just, people will just watch it just to be entertained, but they won't actually click, and they won't actually request a quote. So it's like having this balance between, something that's entertaining so that more people want to watch it, which essentially lowers your cost of advertising on these platforms. Because the more engaging the ads are, the way these platforms work, it's like the more engagement, the lower your costs. So it's like this balancing act of like making it engaging and funny and creative enough and appealing enough so that people want to keep watching it, so that the platform gives you like the benefit of lower costs, because they're ultimately going to show more ads to people at a lower cost where people are enjoying watching the content. So like, it's that balancing act though, because you don't want it to be just so much of they're just watching it to absorb the content. You want them to also click and like actually opt in and actually request a quote and actually move forward with solar and generate enough interest so that they're going to do that. So, we're in the process of just further developing that and making it better and better and better, so that, our cost per lead is actually lower this year than it was last year, which I just talked to a client today, and he's like, yeah, I'm talking to like these other marketing partners, and I want to move all my spend over to you. He's spending like 25 grand a month with us. Now he's going to be spending like 120 grand a month with us, because he's canceling with all his other lead vendors because the costs are going up like this year compared to last year, and our costs are going down. It is, you can get into like this routine where you're just kind of doing the same thing over and over again, and sometimes it's tough to break out of that, but you have to test a lot of stuff and refine things. And that Scream ad, like, it did really, really well at first, but now we're noticing like, yeah, even though our costs are lower, it's like we have to have more people clicking. Even though the lead costs are really decent, like, we need to improve the conversion part of it. Like, it's very entertaining, but now we need to improve the education part of it, the part that like gets consumers excited about getting a quote, like that balancing act. So it's a work in progress, as all marketing and creative processes are, but that's kind of how I approach some of these different types of ads we run.
How did that ScoobyDoo one? Is that one is the balance there was more entertaining than ad clicking, or how did that one go? Because that was an awesome one.
Thanks. Yeah. So that one does pretty well. It's it's not one of our best performing ads though. So like some of my best performing ads for Solar Exclusive, like as far as like when you're looking at just straight like what made Solar Exclusive the most money and like at the best cost, like how did we acquire clients at the best cost? It's usually just the ones with me in front of the camera, just pitching to the solar pros, right? And like I kind of totally resonate with what Josiah said because he said like people's like they meet him and they're like, oh, I thought you were this funny guy, like you're just like this normal dude. Like I have clients say that to me all the time. Or like I see you in the ads, but like I'm on this Zoom meeting with you and you're like totally different. Like you're not the same person that I see in the ads, right? And it's like, well, yeah, it's like, you know, there is an element of like acting, right? I mean, it's not like I'm saying stuff that's untrue. Like we have changed the lives of, you know, hundreds, even thousands of solar professionals, and like our results are real for those who put in the work. But you know, you have to be good on camera too. Like there is like a little element of acting, right? So I tend to be like very reserved and introverted, but like in my ads, I'm like, you know, all in it. And it's like, I look like someone else. I appear like I'm someone else. But it's always good to have variety in your ads too, because you can't only have one type of ad. So the ScoobyDoo ad does great, even though it's not like converting necessarily as well as some of our other ads. It still gets good brand recognition. It's still, you know, people are going to see a bunch of my ads anyway. They're going to see me, you know, a bunch of times. So if they spend some time on the ScoobyDoo ad, more than likely they're going to go and see one of my other ads that might tip the scales for them. So the variety factor can't be dismissed, even if one ad necessarily isn't your best performing one.
So speaking of creative ads, just really quick, because Bill is a pioneer in creative ads. Like some of his stuff is so memorable. I still remember Swear Jar, which was a killer ad. So Bill, like, how about you? Like, what do you do to come up with creativity, and what are you doing lately with your creativity?
I watch YouTube videos on the funniest commercials of all time.
There you
And I
go.
recreate those commercials. That's it.
That's it. What else do you need?
That's it. Some of those, and they're all Super Bowl commercials. Like the Swear Jar was a Bud Light commercial, you know. So yeah, I just get inspiration from that. That and weed. You know, I smoke weed, and then I think of all kinds of things, and
You're waking and baking, Bill?
not necessarily waking and baking, but I make time for it.
So
Joe's
there's-
saying
Speaking of two
B-A-K-I-N-G, not the other bacon. Like,
yeah,
Yeah, right. Yeah,
my
exactly.
number one comment on my ads is like, "This guy's so high," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm just even keeled, okay?" Like,
Hold on, what? So you have a potential bacon monetization. You have an OnlyFans monetization there. Joe and Josiah, what's going on here?
I'm in the wrong
You
business.
get your own.
Hey, really quick, to change the subject. Since you guys are all in marketing, do all of you put your kids in your ads so you can claim that $12,000 tax? Everybody know about that, right?
I'm starting this year.
Yes.
I actually have my oldest. He's 8, and he literally reads from scripts to do solar ads. Like I'm about to run traffic to his.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
It's not for that. I just think homeowners will like it.
They
You know,
will,
like,
and you'll get
How
it.
can you be? Plus, the algorithms are going to like it too. They're like, "Whoa," you know, kids.
yeah.
But
Speaking of
the
great
other
ideas.
thing I will say that I've found to be incredibly effective when deciding what videos to run traffic to is if you post it on your page or your social, and it's it gets the more organic reach. You know, like you literally just watch to see which one does better organically, and then you put dollars behind it, and it's like every single time. So you get the crowd to sort of tell you.
The old Frank Kern.
That's sort of what drips into my next question here. and maybe I'll try to get your guys' technical juices going here. You know, many people watching this might not be technical, and as I've said many times, yeah, I had the privilege of jumping into solar ads back in 2017 as well in Australia, where there was nothing going on. I spent a decent amount on ads personally, so I learned this the rough way because no one was really there to teach me how to do it. One thing I certainly learned is that this is not just a matter of throwing a creative up on Facebook and running an ad. You might even get initial results, especially with a dollar a day budget, but there's just so much more that goes into ads, algorithms being a buzzword for me that Bill said there. When it comes to creatives, what does one person do? They'll put so much energy into a creative, and because they think it's so awesome, they'll throw it out there and they'll expect certain results. They'll throw it out there, they'll get absolutely nothing, and then all of a sudden they'll blame digital marketing or running ads for the reason they didn't get results. I was speaking to a friend the other day about trading, and I draw similar correlations here. He said when you're trading, you have to completely remove emotion. It's all about what works and what doesn't. Stick to what you know, the fundamentals. Test, right? With ads, I found that very similarly. How do you guys separate yourself from the emotional aspect of, I think this is going to work, versus using data to just go, no, let's just throw, is it testing? Is that the thing? Is it knowing the algorithm? How do you separate yourself? And did you actually ever experience that?
Yeah, I think for us at least, when we're creating, we have a specific amount of content we're trying to create each month on Facebook, on YouTube, and English, and on Spanish. So our creative department works kind of over time. We were using an agency, ended up bringing the guy we were using, his agency. We just kind of was like, all right, how do we talk you out of firing all your clients and coming here? He gave me a number. We made it make sense. Because I think creative video, like, it's the future of where everything's going, right? Like, and back in the day, like, iPhone camera, you could stand in front of everybody and get $5 leads in Dallas, Texas. Like, just life ain't like that anymore. And so, like, we like have an 80-20 rule we're pretty big on, I think, at Prospect Bacon. And it's like 80% of our stuff we do is we have a KPI or a standard we're trying to beat. Like, we know what CPLs we're trying to hit nationwide. We know the CPMs on Facebook and YouTube we're trying to hit, which is like how much it costs to show your ad to 1,000 people. And then there's a click-through rate, right? And using those two numbers, we kind of know where we're going to be. Like, you can have an ad that's really entertaining, like Rich was saying earlier, but maybe not as good at selling. So it has a lower CPM. Like, it's cheaper to show that ad to more people, but the click-through rate is lower. Like, there's a million ways you can get to a $60 lead in Dallas, Texas. Like, it's not any one thing. And so we've tried not to get hung up in the testing process on just chasing a perfect ad, but finding, enough ads. Because, like, the problem of having one great ad is that eventually you will need another one. It might be tomorrow. It might be 3 weeks from now. It might be 3 months from now. And so it's having, like, enough ads that meet the KPI to bring variety, because, like, everything fatigues. And I feel like things are fatiguing faster now than ever. Human attention span is shrinking, not growing. You can thank TikTok, China, and the balloon virus and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
And so 20%, 80% is just trying to beat the standard, right? So we have a certain amount of videos we make every month. We know we're making educated guesses. And yes, educated is not a word.
Got to use it, though.
Right. Just got to dot the T's and cross the I's or whatever. And so after we do our 80%, 20% is like swing from the fences, like emotionally. What do we think is going to work? What would work? Let's do the off the wall. It's because it's like, if we're always improving our standard month after month, but also taking some time to swing for, like, how are you going to find the next big thing if you're just always trying to just barely innovate? So there is a mix, a huge mix there.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too, Josiah. So at Solar Exclusive, for us, we heavily emphasize bringing in new content, just like Josiah explained, and all of those things about CPM and CTR and all that stuff are a really good explanation of the balancing act between selling and entertaining. But there's also just some specific technical things that I think a lot of people don't realize when they try to do this themselves, or they hire an agency that's not specialized in solar like we all are here on this call. And one of those things is that there's no, like when I say this word, I guess sharing's not the best word, but like pooling is probably the better word. So like pooling data together. So, sharing obviously implies like the leads are being shared, which I'm not saying. I'm not saying leads are shared or anything. I'm saying by pooling all of the data for our clients into one centralized source on a dialed-in Google account for YouTube ads, we have the benefit of feeding all of the data from all of our clients nationwide into one centralized account that's dedicated to that client. And the benefit of that is that, we have years worth of data, tens of millions of dollars spent in ads over that time frame. And it's just dialed in when it comes to the solar niche specifically. So if you hire an agency that's not specialized in solar, basically they're starting from ground zero, just like you would be starting from ground zero if you were just starting to run your own ads yourself. You have no real data to your disposal. Like even starting on a Facebook account that's like brand new, an ad account that's brand new and not seasoned, you could feed the pixel into that, and that can still benefit. But I really truly believe that ad accounts on Facebook or ad accounts on Google can be seasoned and can be optimized. And like every single client at Solar Exclusive gets an optimized account that is dialed in with tens of millions of dollars worth of data in the solar niche specifically. And that just gives you a leg up over someone who's never run a solar ad before, just starting out doing it themselves, or someone who, hires an agency that like specializes in digital marketing, but they work in like every single niche under the sun, like e-commerce or, other industries and stuff like that. When it's not specifically like you're focusing exclusively on solar, it's not going to get the same end result in most cases. So I think pooling data is like one technical thing that a lot of people overlook when you choose, companies like Solar Exclusive and, like Prospect Bacon, Solar Cheat Code. You're getting the benefit of all the clients in the past and all of the leads that have been generated in the past and all of that data over a lot of money, kind of giving you a leg up against your competition. And then the second thing is when it comes to, improving efficiency and improving lead costs. And, it's so true what Josiah said that like lead costs are not what they used to be. Even though our lead costs this year are lower year over year, ever since August, when the ITC was increased, we've seen lower lead costs month over month compared to last year. Compared to 2021 in August 2021 through August 2022 through February 2023, those 6 months or 8 months or whatever, we've seen lower lead costs nationwide compared to the year prior. And like obviously the benefit of that is because there's great public interest in solar because of the new laws that were passed, or the extension and all that and the changes. And there's more people searching on Google for solar than ever before. I think I did a search that in January 2020 there were like 800,000 searches that month in solar, and like now we're approaching like 3 million searches in solar a month in 2023. So like literally interest in solar has like 5x on these platforms. So that's to our advantage. So like now's the best time to really like get into running solar ads and dialing it in while you can. And a lot of our clients have been with us so long that like their campaigns are just dialed in. Like there is like a learning phase, there is an optimization phase, but the longer that you can run them without pausing them, if you can fix your cash flow issues and resolve those, like the best you're going to set yourself up for the future. And then along those lines, the way we're able to get some of the costs lower also is being strategic with the geography. Like, for instance, you know, if we have two clients that are serving, let's just say, you know, Dallas, Texas, like Josiah brought up as an example, and like this one client is only able to do a 30-mile radius around their installer, but another client can do, like, you know, all of Dallas, all of Houston, all of Austin, all of, you know, other parts of North and South and West Texas. Like, you're just giving the campaign more opportunity for like the ads to last longer, because when you have a limited geography, eventually the ads are going to fatigue faster. The people are going to start seeing the same ads over and over again, and the people who already opted in have already opted in, and the pool of potential leads just keeps going down as your geography is smaller. Having a larger geography is one of the secrets to being able to maximize your campaign for the longest period of time. So people who can sell virtually have a tremendous advantage over those who only sell in-home. But even those who sell in-home and have limited radiuses and limited geography, it can still be done without having to always change out the ads all the time, by being strategic in like how you target. So what I mean is like we might, for instance, target 10 zip codes for one like 5 to 7 day period of time, and we'll just max out those zip codes for those 5 to 7 days, and then we'll move the exact same ads to 10 other zip codes for the next 5 to 7 days. So like there's strategic ways that you can actually splice up the campaigns, so that rather than targeting the whole 30-mile radius around Dallas, if that's what you're limited to, you can actually be more strategic in like moving it around, which actually extends the time that an ad actually fatigues, because you can be more strategic in, as long as the client's willing to work with that type of framework where, hey, like the ads are going to run in this area for this period of time, this area for this period of time, this area for this period of time. And it actually helps the clients who are doing in-home, because then they don't have to drive as much. They're only like in a cluster of zip codes that are closer to one another. And this is what I talked about at Door to Door Con, Sam Taggart's conference that he invited me to speak at, was that we have a strategy where it's called digital plus doors. So we run some ads in these zip codes for a period of time, and like that's where you're going to door knock for like that week or 2 weeks. You're going to door knock in that area, and you're going to get a bunch of appointments in that area. You knock before your appointments in the neighborhood where your appointment is. You check in and say like, hey, I just want to let you know we have an appointment at 6 o'clock. I'm in the neighborhood talking to some other homeowners about solar. I'm going to be back for our appointment at 6. You saw our YouTube ad, remember? Like, oh yeah, for sure. Come back at 6. And then you just keep knocking, close another deal somewhere else, come back, close that deal, and then get 2 more referrals, record a video testimonial with them, and then go to all the neighbors and get a bunch of other referrals that way. And it's just more a strategic way to because there's some people who and I know Josh, you're gonna hate this, since you hate door knocking and you're so against door knocking, and I get it. Like it's your angle, right? It's like, hey, like why, and it makes sense. Like I could sell solar from a beach in Mexico rather than having to be out in the cold and the heat, right? And it's like the best message in the world, and I don't know why anyone doesn't eat that up. But there are some people who just like door knocking changed their life, and they have no intentions of stopping it, and they love door knocking. I was a door knocker. I know it did great things for me and my company, and some people are just going to always want to be on the doors, and this is one way that you can implement the digital strategy plus the doors strategy and be more strategic in maximizing both platforms, or both sources I should say, to maximize your sales.
We used to call that carpet bombing back when we were doing a hybrid virtual door knocking model. So hit carpet bomb, very specific area where door knocking, juice it for the virtual as well, and then move on without fatiguing the certain area.
Dude, you can carpet bomb with such a low budget. Like it was so dumb.
Yeah, it depends on the population, right? Just to put in layman's terms, what Rich was talking about data as well, for those that are watching and don't have a technical background in digital. When it comes to data, and it's constantly changing, but imagine if you, for example, Facebook, if you click on a solar ad, you have a certain amount of attributes on your Facebook profile or how you engage with stuff. Facebook says, okay, well, this person who clicked on a solar ad, they have these 100 attributes. Oh, well, these other people over here also have a similar attributes. So they line it up and say, okay, there's a higher probability they like solar. For people, everyone on this call, for all these guys, they have millions and millions of dollars of data. And so that's the issue that Rich was talking about. And I do try to be careful with this because a lot of people ask, how do I run solar ads? It's if you're asking that question and you don't have 100 grand to burn, just be careful. Because there's guys that we got baking, we got exclusive. Solar Cheat Code, I'm sure, had just an enormous amount of data that they had spent to get. And they have a massive leg up on the competition. Rich, you were talking about marketers that aren't really in solar. You're very rarely going to see any close to the amount of success because these guys are running ads for everybody. They're not specializing in anything. For their ad accounts, as you call it, seasoned, they don't have this data. They haven't spent millions of dollars on solar ads. And so that's why you see all these marketers pouring in that have zero solar experience. For everyone watching, just be careful. They don't have that data. They can't tell Facebook, hey, show me someone like this person or like these tens of thousands of people that clicked on my ad that also a probability of clicking on solar ad. They're sort of starting fresh.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So that's a simple breakdown on the technical aspect. There's a lot more to it than just throwing a picture of you saying, hey, do you want to save money on your power bill on Facebook?
And there's so much on that, right, Josh? I mean, I remember back when I was doing the sales calls for Prospect Bacon, somebody would say like, hey, we decided to go with, digital marketing company, local guy here in Houston. He knows my uncle. I'm like, great, you'll be back. Like, I'll talk to you in like a month and a half, 2 months. Cause there's a whole lot like, tax appetite makes a huge difference. If you don't know solar and your ads are just bringing in people, low income, low tax bracket, like bad credit scores, like, every lead is not a good lead in solar. Like, it's not.
Unfortunately, sales reps get the dopamine hit of getting the lead though. And they don't attach the end goal as getting the deal. So
you're saying people get high on their own supply.
The technical.
You guys see on Facebook now on the personal, you can do a sponsored ad on your personal posts. So you guys seen that
takeover.
Yeah, so I'm thinking is like as like a regular solar pros, can they keep testing themselves with posting and memes and then if they see something that goes viral, hits, and then they put money behind it? Is that a good idea for solar reps to put money behind posts that are going viral or doing well?
I won't speak for everybody, but there is a big difference between sponsored posts and actually running an ad.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, explain the difference. And maybe Bill can, or if he wants to go next.
Yeah, I've never boosted anything before. I don't know much about it. It just seems like it's a different objective. So it's like, but I mean, if you're trying to become locally famous, then yeah, as long as the content, you have to understand that whatever you do in the ad, in the messaging, is literally what spits out on the other end. So it's like if your posting is, you should use your profile as a salesperson as a fly trap. Like, you should be assuming people are going to come check you out on your page, right? And your page should be a funnel, and there should be a link to book a call with you, and there should be calls to action, right? And then that way, that allows you to go and just do content in things like neighborhood groups, these types of things. Because if you post something engaging and if you can if you can create something of value to give away for free. For example, I did like a 12-page PDF of how you can lower your electric bills by 15% by spending less than $7 at Home Depot, right? And it was like all these little tiny things you can do around the house to save money. And I would just drop it in a community group and be like, if anyone wants a comment, guide. And then setters would essentially deliver the guide, and then follow up and see how they like it, and then upsell them to a solar appointment. And this, I got this from Cole Gordon, right? I don't know, you probably heard of Cole Gordon, but it's the two-step post, right? So it's like it's a way to get organic traffic into your pipeline by giving something of value for free, getting into someone's DM, right? Because if someone comments, it's an agreement. And if you deliver, if you say, hey, I'm DMing you the guide, Facebook sees that you guys are in the DM. And then all of a sudden, that person sees all of your stuff. If you posted videos 6 months ago, they're going to see it. And then they're going to go to your Facebook page and they're going to say, oh, this guy's doing solar. I'm going to get it. You know what I mean? So it's just, you plan with the end in mind.
Yeah. I mean, I think Bill made a good point. It's like it's a different objective. So generally, like the boosting of posts, at least my understanding is, maybe Josiah could correct me, but so he spends a lot, he does a lot more on Facebook, but I think it's more of like brand awareness as far as like it just gets the message out there, but it's not really for the purpose of getting someone to convert. And that's the difference. I think the key difference is that Facebook's just going to blast it out to as many people as possible, and that's why it's cheaper to run those ads, because it's a lower CPM because you're just getting out there, but it's not actually for the purpose of getting someone to book a call or become a lead or get a quote and stuff like that. So, but like I'm all for getting proven wrong. Like if someone comes up with a strategy for like really creative posts that are super effective in getting leads, I mean, power to you. Like, test it out and see if it works.
From my understanding, for sponsored and boosted posts, and I've done a bit of it, it's just traffic, it's just audience. There's zero technical analysis you can do on the back end. There's zero setting up ad specifically targeting, no LLAs, no custom audiences. So you really lose, you sort of chop your legs off. 80-90% of your control is gone. But for influencers, like I just want to get my face in front of people, to as many people as possible. Maybe, but for actual conversions, I don't think it's worthwhile.
I don't know, Joe. I would check that out, bro. Like lately, now you can go on there. You can do custom audiences. You can do those tracking stuff. Like I'm not a Facebook whiz, but it seems like it's much more advanced than it was before.
I think you might be able to do that, but for boosts, as long as you have your ads manager, like the technical piece to it, to actually build custom audiences, that might be the case. But there's a big difference for people that know ads, running for ads from an ads manager and just boosting a post. For example, TikTok, you can boost a post from your phone, but it's just the location and then maybe an audience you've created, but there's no tweaking, there's no ad setups. I could be wrong though. Maybe there's been enough.
Yeah, there's no tweaking on TikTok, Josh, but there's twerking. I heard. TikTok ads manager is wild. That's
TikTok
a
wants
weird
to see
world.
Josiah twerk.
Some bacon shorts. No, I mean I think it's like whatever is your objective, right? Like, because I think of like those movies that you would not laugh very hard at like 4 o'clock in the middle of the day, but if they're on at like 11:30 at night, you're like laugh pretty hard. And it's like those movies, they're always like a 5, 6, 7 on IMDb, but they're not quite. For me, I think of the first video I ever bought, which I think was Kung Pao Enter the Fist. I don't know if anybody remembers.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, got so grounded for watching it, but I think I was able to talk my mom into thinking it was on TV rather than on a VHS I had purchased. So that was kind of like, those types of movies. And it's like, okay, the story's not coherent, but it's really funny. And it's like, so if your goal is to be funny and to do like those viral, like often the things that converts are not the same things that would go viral, right? Because it's like, if the goal is to be funny, great, be funny, but I think some of the funniest ads we've ever done are not ads that convert well, because like the education side, you know, really wasn't there. You know, it's interesting. So like if you want to be a famous TikTok person and also get solar leads, you probably need to decide like which one you want to do. And make sure your OnlyFans URL isn't taken, and then, you know, just make your decision. But like choose one thing or the other. And I think content that converts can be funny, but I don't think funny content always converts. Or like, and that's usually what goes viral.
We once, I think it goes back to the same question of like, you really want this, the creative is awesome, you love it, but it's just not built for conversions. We once spent 4 weeks, I think, building like an infographic. You remember those old school infographics with sort of cartoon stuff?
Yeah.
We had, this is in Australia, so I had Australian voiceover actors, everyone come in. It's like the most expensive ad I ever built, early days, maybe 5-10 grand in production. It's like, we're very well produced. We didn't have all these platforms that did it for you back in the day. Nothing came from it. And we did radio ads once. We thought we had broken the code with radio ads. We targeted specific areas, not a single damn conversion.
Yeah.
It's like, what is built to convert and what just looks good and makes you laugh and you know, what you think is going to convert.
And it's wild. Like we had a client that worked with, you know, they had an in-house media buyer, and they're like, we're going to hire Chambers Media to do some ads. And they were like a pretty big client for us. So, you know, it was like, and like just what you think is going to win isn't always going to win. Like that campaign did not go so hot for those people. And I think it's just knowing the audience, knowing what converts on each platform, right? Like, because Facebook is not the same as YouTube, is not the same as TikTok. And I think a lot of it is, you know, a lot of what we're seeing is moving companies to a more like branded approach where, you know, they're advertising as their solar company, we're customizing the creative for their business. And that seems to be, you know, a little more of what's working better for us these days. So it's wild.
What's twerking better for you?
What's twerking better for you? Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
Joe, what do you reckon?
Well, I absolutely loved that. That was so much information, so many nuggets for everybody. But we don't want to get too technical. So how about we have a little bit of fun here? So we're going to do a little segment called 5 Words or Less. Hit it, Josh.
Boom! I got to get a graphic up. 5 words
have
or
it
less.
already. You look good.
All right. So, 5 words or less. I'm going to give you guys some rapid fire questions here. We've got a bit technical over the past 20, 30. Let's loosen up here a bit. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Bacon. 5 words or less. I'm going to give you something. You got to give me the answer in 5 words or less. Describe your fashion sense, Josiah.
No.
There you go. That's an answer.
That's fitting. Rich, describe your fashion sense for us.
5 words or less.
Lacking.
We're going with
Wow,
one.
you
word
guys
or
are fun.
Let's do
Or
one word or
my-
less.
My wife handles it.
That's mine. That's my answer.
All right, I like it. Mr. Bill Murphy, describe your fashion sense. 5 words or less.
I was going to say the same thing. My wife buys my clothes. 5.
He wins.
He's okay. Well, okay. This one's not going to be much better. Josiah, describe your personality. 5 words or less. We'll give him some time. Rich, describe your personality. 5 words or less. I think you took it a bit too literal, and you gave the answer with no words.
He went from 1 to 0.
Creative thinker, providing solar leads.
There you go.
Beautiful. Mr. Murphy, describe your personality. 5 words or less.
And you can't steal it now, Josiah. I see what you're doing over there.
Risky and risque. Risky, outgoing, confident, What's that? 3?
Rugged.
Rugged and handsome.
There you go. Your personality is handsome. I love it.
Next one up. This one should be easy. This one
thought-
should be rapid fire. Josiah, you've already given your
Wait,
answer,
wait,
my
no,
friend.
he didn't give his
We
answer.
went no
You
answer.
answered in
Let him
silence.
answer. Let him
I love
answer.
that.
Don't
If
let him
that
get away
if that
with it.
counts, that's great.
I think that matches you as well. Just
No, not
Wow.
a zero
I
personality.
was gonna say slow to speak, quick wit.
there
There
you go.
you go. That's it. Perfect.
This should be quicker. 5 words or less. Favorite vacation spot and why? Start with Rich.
La Jolla, California. That's where I'm at right now.
That's where I'm at right now. Well, it's a bit over the word count there, but Josiah, favorite vacation spot, 5 words or less, and why?
Black Mountain, North Carolina. I honeymooned there.
Nice one.
Good times. 5
you
flights.
Perfect. Mr. Murphy, 5 words or less. Vacation
Well, it's
spot.
Disney World. We go to Disney World every year. We just did a Solar Chico Disney World where it was like 4 families in one house. It was pretty sweet. It was 17 children between me and the people who worked with me. 17 kids in one house.
I think it's about 42 words.
We paint
45
outside the lines, Josh. We paint outside the lines.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Disney
got
World,
one.
2 words.
There we go. I got one last 5 words or less, and then we're going to move into what everyone came here for in a quick second. Ultimate career goal, 5 words or less. Josiah.
Shoot an ad. Bill Murray. Not Murphy. Murray.
Bill Murray or Bill Murphy, he said.
Rich, ultimate career goal, 5 words or less.
Philanthropist helping people in Asia.
Love that.
Nice. Mr. Murphy.
$500,000 donated to entrepreneurial youth by 2028. Now, that's something that I repeat twice a day to myself. So that's way more than 5 words, but that is what I'm doing. By December 31st, 2028, I will have donated 500 grand to entrepreneurial youth, specifically sales training.
Nice. I like it.
I feel like I went
All right.
first and look really selfish.
All right, we're gonna get serious here. A lot of people watch this for a very, very specific
All right.
reason.
Time.
This of course is the Lead Gen Showdown podcast. Here's what's gonna happen here, people. At the end of this, there's gonna be a winner, and that might mean there are 2 losers. Hey, I come from the school of thought that there's winners and losers, but some people don't. This is what's going to happen. You each are going to get 10 questions. These are serious questions. You're going to have to think. You're going to have to bring your entire career, your entire knowledge about solar systems into this. I'm going to give you a question. You're going to answer it. I'm going to tell you if you got it right or wrong. Joe is going to keep track of the score here. Each one gets 10 questions. This is specifically knowledge about solar systems. At the end of this, we will have one clear winner of who has the most knowledge about solar systems. Joe, are you ready to keep track here? Josiah, Rich, and Bill, are you ready to enter into the competition here?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
The first question I'm going to ask, this is going to be for Mr. Atkins.
Always
The first question is, Josiah, which is the smallest planet within our solar system? You know what, Joe? I might have messed up here. Solars, damn it.
Let's just go with it. Let's just go with it. It's solar system. Let's see the knowledge of solar systems.
Man, I was expecting more laughs from that. Anyway, let's go. Josiah, smallest planet within our solar system.
I'm still Team Pluto, so
I told you already, Pluto. It's not even a planet, bro.
That is unfortunately the incorrect answer.
That's what you think.
You can't say the answer. Yet. You can't say the answer.
He did. He did say the answer. He's sticking with Pluto. Oh, Mercury. Sorry, is the correct answer.
No, don't say the answer, Josh. I said don't let them answer it.
Everyone has a different question, Joe.
All right,
Josiah answered Pluto. Number 2. So, Rich, this is your first question here. Which is the second smallest planet within our solar system?
I would say Venus. Venus.
That answer is incorrect. Joe, should I tell him the right answer here? No.
You can now because I thought everybody was getting the same questions, but I guess not.
No,
So.
we're all different ones, baby.
Earth,
We're lining up.
Earth.
The correct answer.
Earth.
Unfortunately, you don't get
Yes.
2 options here. The correct answer is Mars. Bill, this
I
is
want to
an
ask you the
interesting.
third smallest, please.
Mark. Bill, this question is for you here. So we currently have 0 numbers on the board here. Maybe you can take it. The moon called Titan orbits which planet?
Jupiter.
Ooh, that is correct.
That is the incorrect answer.
What? It's
Joe,
not
I've got the answers here. I don't know what you did. The correct answer is Saturn.
I know Jupiter has like 9 moons, so I figured it would be a safe bet.
I thought it
All
was
right.
Jupiter too, so to make you feel better.
We're going back to Mr. Atkins here. This is we're still even across the board here. The title for the most knowledgeable about solar systems is on the board. Josiah, which is the brightest planet in the night's sky?
And the sun is not one of the options.
The sun is not a planet.
He's slow to speak, but quick.
We can't
to-
answer any of these correctly, guys, just so you know. We have
You
to
were so
throw it at
close.
this point.
Jupiter?
That is incorrect. The correct answer is Venus.
See, I would beg to differ because I see Jupiter every night, and it looks like a star.
You see it the most,
Yeah.
I feel
That
like.
was
Because
my
I have
guess.
that
was my
Skyview app. You guys ever get that? Download Skyview. It's insane. Like you can
cool.
actually see the space junk. Like you can find the used rockets with your phone floating around. It's crazy.
That's nuts.
That's crazy.
Interesting, but still not the right answer. Number 5, this is for Mr. Rich. This is your second question. Which planet is larger, Neptune or Saturn?
Is this a trick question? Are we including the ring or not the ring?
Ooh, he's asking for follow up.
I cannot provide these answers.
I'll say no ring, just the planet.
All right, Neptune.
Sure. Is incorrect. It is Saturn. And you
Don't
guys
worry,
are really.
I won't answer the next question correctly.
I'm just
You
pulling
guys don't know
for.
anything about solar systems, by the
I'm
way.
pulling for one of us just for the whole of the marketing industry at this point.
Yeah,
I
seriously.
I mean-
we just gotta- we're obviously not scientists. We don't work at NASA, dude.
To be honest, man, I mean, I thought you guys would understand. I might have got the quiz
Hey.
wrong here, but
It's not
It's right
done
up your
yet.
alley.
We have one more round here.
well, actually, we got to finish off this one, Mr. Bill Murphy. I mean, this is an obvious one. I'm pretty sure everyone knows this one. Uranus has only been visited by what spacecraft?
And it's not your wife. I'm just joking.
Oh, jeez.
Wait a minute. So Uranus has been visited by a spacecraft, like from Earth?
No, I was thinking of a Martian spacecraft, right?
Does it have the word Voyager in it? Voyager.
Can you
Final answer.
Is that your final answer? Voyager 2.
Are you serious? It was Voyager?
It's so
Voyager
close.
Come on,
2.
that's the correct answer.
If
I get-
nobody,
I
That's a
get-
very different spacecraft.
if nobody gets one, I think you should give that to Bill.
I think it counts as one. That's
I don't think it counts till the end.
I agree with you, Diet. That's a bonus point. I'm sure someone's going to get something right and take the entire industry by storm here. Josiah, this is your third question. There have been more. Is this your third? Yeah. There have been more missions to this planet versus any other planet.
The moon doesn't count.
This could be for the win, if no one else gets anything here.
Is this a trick question?
I cannot give any additional information.
Only that it's not the moon.
Okay, because logically, I would say more missions have probably happened on Earth than any planet.
Ooh. You're talking
I
about
don't know.
There have been more missions to this planet versus any other planet.
Two. I'm going to say Mars.
He has the correct answer. The first one on the board. Officially, the first one on the board.
He was like, it has to be a trick question. It's too easy.
But technically, Earth, because every mission had to return to Earth. So
Do you want to change your answer now that you know you got it right?
I will stay with my answer.
The second one here, and Rich is gone because he knows
He is disqualified now. I'm just joking.
he's back. Okay, and look, some of these might be layups, some of them might not be. Rich, and I haven't decided who gets which questions. What protects Earth from meteoroids and radiation from the sun? Meteoroids.
Who's this for?
This is
This is
Rich.
for me. This is for me.
The answer's not Space Force, right?
As this is, while Rich is thinking, this is a classic example of why you shouldn't use the target solar system on Facebook and or Google.
Exactly. This is the whole point of this.
Some
Not
free
solar
game.
system, yeah. I'm gonna say the ozone layer, although I think that's wrong.
I think that's right.
It unfortunately, could you maybe expand on that?
The I don't know the ozone layer, like the
You said the ozone. What else is there?
Unfortunately, the correct answer is the atmosphere.
Superman.
So Josiah is still currently. We might have a tiebreaker based off of this question, but we'll see.
The 10th one, though, is everybody can do it. Whoever says it first.
Okay, sounds good. This one though, this is because this is slightly more difficult. Actually, no. Okay, I'll leave that to the last one there. Let me find a normal one here. Which planet is closest in size to Earth? This is Bill's last question before the final bonus round.
Let me pull up my chat GPT.
Hold on a second
No
here.
Googling. No Googling.
Uranus, just because I like saying it.
You're saying it wrong.
Unfortunately,
Your
that-
face.
That is incorrect. That is Venus. Let's wrap up with three quick questions here. Or should we do one difficult one? Because currently Josiah is in first place. We do one difficult one. If anyone gets this, it's double points and wins the entire competition.
Oh, all right. Let's go. Double points. Last one.
Okay. How many of our planets can be seen without a telescope? And I'll say you have to name all of them. There are 5.
No, you did it hard. You should give him with the number. Now it's too late, though.
Well, there's 5. We only have eight planets.
I think
9
Bill
planets. 8
looks like
planets.
he's on his phone. I don't
So
trust
why
him
don't?
right now.
Yeah, he is. So why don't we do the three we can't see?
I don't have that answer. I think someone could get this. This is double points. This is all or nothing. How many planets can be seen without a telescope? Guess which planets rather could be seen without a telescope? There are 5. You each get 5 options here.
Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Mercury.
Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Mercury. That is your final answers?
Yeah.
Rich, 5 planets that can be seen without a telescope.
Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Neptune.
Those are your final answers?
Yes.
Locking them in? Bill?
I hate it when he says that.
Well, we know Jupiter, right? And we know Saturn. And we know, I believe we know, well, Mars. That's 3. And then it's Venus. And I think Mercury.
Are those your final answers?
Yeah, I've never seen Mercury. Has anyone seen Mercury?
I feel like I've heard somebody talk about
I personally
seeing
have
Mercury.
not seen Mercury.
Like I was standing in the grocery store line and some guy was like, "Oh, I found an
Mercury's
arrowhead,
out tonight."
and I saw Mercury out in the field the other
On
day.
the way here.
And I found 3 Shoshone arrowheads."
Okay. So there is a clear winner here. That round was double points. So the winner of that round won everything. And that was... I'm more excited about this than anyone else. Mr. Bill Murphy in the hat.
Right. Congrats, Bill.
Interesting.
What got you the win was, I think, he's
Thank
the only
you.
one that said Saturn for some reason. So good job.
One of them. Some sort of... Josiah, you were super close, but you said Neptune.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's ever seen Neptune.
My son is very big into space. Very big. And I know all about space from him. So I'm fortunate.
Sounds like it.
You can be proud dad
We tr-
now. Tell all about this story.
Bill, I trust anything you would say now. So
My daughter can count to 20. That's about all I know how to do.
Well,
20 billion you can count to. I know that.
I mean, that puts it to rest, really. I think that's the primary reason that anyone was going to watch this podcast anyway. It's who had the most knowledge and the most
Yeah.
professional on the solar systems. And apparently it's Bill with his
Bill Murphy,
knowledge of Jupiter.
hats off.
So,
hats
we
off.
got-
man.
Can we finally put this
Hats
to rest
off
now?
to Bill. Hats off to Bill.
Good job, Bill. So we got 15 minutes left. We have a few more questions. You guys want to chill for 15 more minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, let's do it.
Josh, do you have those questions you want to talk about? The first one, as Josh pulls it up, just really quick. I was just thinking about this for you guys, and Josh pulled up some other questions. But if there's going to be a movie made about your life and they had to find an actor to play your role, who would that actor be? You know you've been thinking about it.
These are great questions.
So apparently, you guys already told me Zach Galifianakis, who's from Asheville, North Carolina, not too far from me. I'd throw in a strong vote for Sean Astin or the kid from Spy Kids who married Megan Trainor. Junie?
Wait,
Remember
did you say
Junie?
Sean Astin from Spy Kids?
No,
not Lord of the
Sean
Rings?
Astin from Lord of
Sean.
the Rings. Or
Yeah.
Junie from Spy Kids. Remember, like, the curly-headed guy? He's married to Megan Trainor now. They have toilets in the same bathroom. Don't ask me. Just apparently I know more about that than the solar system. But
That's actually great.
He and I are pretty
I
close.
see Sean Astin. That's good.
I say Zach Galifianakis without the beard. Shave off the beard, and then boom, that'd be a perfect role for you.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not a
Who's
movie
up next?
buff. Why don't you go, Bill? I'm not a movie buff. I gotta think about this.
All right, Bill.
Well, clearly Brad Pitt.
Obviously. That was easy.
That's your final. All right, Rich.
I would say, like, if it was chronological, like, and
Ooh, that's
we can
fun.
get a lookalike, like, I mean,
Oh,
like a young, like, I kind of look, I had, like, I had the Justin Bieber haircut before Justin Bieber had it, but I don't look anything like Justin Bieber. But I would say, like, Zac Efron look from High School Musical. Like, I watched that because my wife loves that movie, but I know that's what I looked like in high school. But Zac Efron would have to put on like 40 pounds, like when I turned 30, and then get a beard and glasses, and that might work.
Dude, I think, Rich, I see Adam Driver just killing
Adam Driver.
the like biography of Solar Exclusive. I just see him leaning into the role, bent over the ads manager.
Yeah.
And Bill, I don't know who would play you now, but the older version of you, you did a meme from this forever ago, but the guy from Schitt's Creek could totally play some like older version of you.
Yeah.
Down the road.
Eugene Levy?
No.
Not Eugene Levy.
Bill,
The
you
other
posted
guy.
a meme
Oh,
of
the other
it.
guy. Oh, the guy.
The mayor.
Yeah. I know which one you're talking
Mayor,
about. He used to be the Tostitos guy.
And he was in
He's from SNL, right?
he was in that Scary movie. Was it
With the
Scary
little
movie?
hand.
Oh,
Yeah. You know,
He was in,
I met
There's Something
him.
About Mary. He's the guy from There's Something About Mary.
Yeah, I met him at Disney.
Oh, that's
He was
cool.
in line in front of me. And he was the Tostitos guy. Way back in the day. He was the Tostitos spokesperson.
And now
I
they
mean,
don't even
Josiah,
do
you
ads.
might be the only person who knows who this is, but Logan Paul's dad for Bill.
Why would I know who that is?
I feel like you're the only one that's connected enough to.
I haven't seen Logan Paul's dad. I haven't.
Damn! Anybody watching this, let me know if you see that in Bill.
Logan
I
Paul's
certainly
dad.
do.
I kind of want to Google it, but I don't want to get distracted.
All right, good stuff. All right, well let's wrap it up. I have one thing, exciting question, just rapid fire. What you think? What's the future of advertising?
It doesn't
Are
have to
we
be
talking
long,
AI?
Just a kind of quick answers. Go ahead.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Does that, or anybody take it? Are we talking AI? Are we talking different platforms? Are we talking crazy new things, or is it going to be video? What do you see on the horizon?
I think the future of traffic, I mean, the future of advertising is two things. I think it's owning your traffic / audience. I think solar companies need to dig in and be locally famous, like Bill was talking about, or the company to do business with, or they need to be very agile, fast operating almost in that virtual, world, kind of like Josh is. I don't really see I kind of see the blitz model going away. The more educated the solar industry gets, and more important for it to be, the local solar company, or like the virtual one who can be in many places all the time.
Love it.
I think with, like you said, like is AI like the future? I mean, I've played around with some of these softwares and stuff, and I don't think it's ever going to replace the human need for creativity. There's a lot of errors in ChatGPT, like the stuff that I've looked at. But I mean, it's a great springboard for getting some ideas together. But it's never going to replace the advertising. But if we're talking about solar advertising, I definitely think education is going to be the way that we do it. A lot of our ads that we're transitioning to are just more educational. A lot of our landing pages more educational, having more data, more sources. Because what we're finding is on Google, with the increased amount of search volume in solar, people really want their questions answered about solar adequately before they request a quote. So there's a lot of curiosity, but not much, meat as far as education is concerned. So we're running a lot more editorials, a lot more advertorials, type of articles where, it's more educational focus. And that's how the market is shifting right now. Like we're noticing, like more than ever before, like people are filling out multiple forms. Like we review calls with our call center all the time, and we're hearing it more and more often that people are saying like, "Oh, I filled out another form. I did this. Like I have another company coming," and like we never shared the lead. It's an exclusive lead, but people are just wanting to get multiple codes because the market is maturing. Like people, like the early adopting phase is over in solar in a lot of these markets, and now it's like we have to educate them and get their questions answered prior to them opting in. So I think that's the future of solar advertising.
Nice one.
So we can all agree that the cost of marketing is increasing, kind of like energy rates increase over time, and the the person who can pay more to acquire the client profitably will always be the winner. So in the solar game, this is what I'm working on with my own business, is increasing the lifetime value of the prospect. So if you can transact multiple times with this homeowner, you have a higher LTV. If you have a higher LTV, you can pay more upfront to acquire, and that's how you win. So I think it's more about how can you become the repeat Amazon for home services. Because, I own a home. It's incredibly difficult to get any contractor to even call you back if you have a problem. What if you're making additional offers to the people who you've already done a massive transaction with? They already like you enough to do a big transaction. They're going to need other things for their home. They're going to need their water softened, their water purified. They're going to need ancillary things, right? Water purification is a good one because it's quick, it's easy, it's retrofit, it's
So
2-3K profit. It's just another thing you can do with your list, right? So it's just one of those things where if you can build your LTV, you can pay more up front, even if costs do rise.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, thanks very much for those insights, guys. Phenomenal. You guys are all on different ends of the spectrum here and giving some really creative thoughts.
We're definitely all on the
that.
spectrum. That's for sure.
Well, Bill a bit more than everyone else here, but good. How about we roll out the red carpet for these guys, Joe? Let them shout themselves out, and we wrap these bad boys up and have a fantastic evening. What do you reckon?
Yeah, Josiah, how anybody can reach you, or if they wanted to work with Prospect Bacon, what's the best avenue to do that?
You can do that. You can hit me on Instagram. You can hit me on Facebook. If you're wondering which profile, I think the black and white pictures, my old one. Sorry for the confusion. And, prospectbacon.com is an easy way to get me. I think JosiahAtkins.com still takes you to a Spotify album I dropped in 2015. So social's a good place for that.
It actually does. I just went there. That's amazing.
It really does?
Rich, what do you got going on?
Yeah, so if anyone listening to this wants to, have a seasoned, account on Google and YouTube and a bunch of other platforms that we run on, they can find out more. We can give you estimated costs in your market based on 6 years worth of historical data. Obviously, we can't predict the future, but, our projections are very accurate, and we try not to overpromise. And you can find us at solarexclusive.com. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram. I have profiles, but I never check them. I really am kind of an oddball when it comes to social media. My whole business is based around social media, but I don't really spend much time on it. So if you message me, I probably won't see it. So please just go to our website, solarexclusive.com.
Nice one.
And Bill, how about you?
Cheat codes for salespros.com. If you want to learn how to generate leads for yourself so that you don't have to pay one of these guys to run your ads, you can do that. If you want to learn the nuance between getting someone to close face to face versus on the phone, we do that in Remote Rainmaker, which is also on that same website, so you can opt in there. And of course, click on any one of my ads, and you'll get the team.
And there's one thing that we all have in common. Anybody know?
We're going to Solar Disney.
SolarCon. Going to SolarCon.
SolarCon.
You took the win out of myself.
I was 50-50.
So everybody watching and wants to go hang out and see Rich Fiola, Bill Murphy, Josiah Atkins, Josh King, and myself, don't forget, go to attendsolarcon.com. Get your tickets now before it's too late and you said, damn, I wish I should have been there. Let's go. What do you guys think?
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. Last year was incredible. This year is going to be even better. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all there. And then I think Joe and Jake promised everyone Disney World tickets too if you come. So that's great.
Family pack.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, people. Thanks very much for joining, everybody. Thanks for watching. I hope you had a good time. Peace.
Peace. You guys are the
Later,
best. Peace.
Good hanging with you guys.
Boom. The long-awaited lead gen episode is over. I hope you guys had a good time. That was a blast. We learned a ton, and we learned a bit about the weapons of lead gen in the solar industry right now as well.
Stay tuned because we're going to have some killers on the next one. We're going to keep having some awesome collaborations. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to react, comment, and share. Let's go, baby.
See you guys.